An African proverb says, "The earth was not left to us by our parents, it was lent to us by our children." That means we must protect our children's rights to a safe and healthy environment, clean water, clean air. Let us act now so that our children and our children's children will inherit a planet fit to live on. It will be the most important investment we can make now.
The rainforests of Brazil contain millions of species of plants and animals. They also hold the heartbeat of children because hundreds of plants in the forest are used for medical products. The rosy periwinkle plant provides the only known treatment for childhood leukemia and Hodgkin's disease. But we're threatened with the loss of many of these plants because in the last 2 decades, the Amazon has suffered tremendous destruction. Areas the size of countries have been burned by the fire of development. The Yanomami Indians and their unique knowledge of the forest are victims of this fever of greed. But the destruction also brought awareness, a need to stop this devastation, to balance the economy and nature. Brazil has the right to grow as other countries grew by using its forest. But today's emergency is to preserve what others did not. To do that, extractive reserves have been created, areas for renewable resources that won't destroy the forest. Rubber, nuts, and medicinal plants are possible examples. We need to become caretakers of this earth, to preserve this treasure for the generations to come. Will we continue to destroy forms of life that we barely know? Or will we listen to the voice of the forest? For more information about children and our environment, call or write your nearest UNEP or UNICEF office.
I heard a wise man say, we don't know how the earth works. We're only learning how our earth works. How the rainforests affect the ozone layer. How acid rain destroys whole forests and spreads diseases too. The same wise man said we have 4,000 days in which to decide our future. That's our decade of the 90s. Time enough to get wise and act.
Action in Bangkok, Thailand took the form of an old expression, the eyes have it. But in this far eastern capital city, it's the magic eyes that have it. The problem in Bangkok, Thailand, as in most cities, is air pollution caused by exhaust fumes. And often the air is thick with dust. But littering is a big problem too. And to combat it, magic eyes posters have appeared all over the city, including the schools. There are TV spots too that show children what could happen. A family's picnicking. Dad drops his paper cup on the ground. The magic eyes see him and he's shrunk. When Dad disposes of the litter properly, he's allowed to return to normal size. Be careful, magic eyes are watching. For more information about children and our environment, call or write your nearest UNEP or UNICEF office.
Today, our Mother Earth and this planet has many problems. We must think about this seriously for our next generations and all living things.
The 1950s and 60s were decades of disposables. But now it's the 90s, and we have to work to save our planet. In flea markets, as elsewhere in Japan, they're doing their share to reduce, recycle, and reuse. One of the grassroots recycle programs in Sendai, Japan, started with school students. They used milk cartons to make postcards. Milk cartons are also recycled into other paper products. In Fuji, trucks regularly go around the homes to collect milk cartons and carry them to paper manufacturing factories. This local movement is now spreading all across Japan. Another young people's effort involves recycling clothes and a fashion show to go with them. A citizen initiative led to a national recycle conference in April to find still further ways of recycling. In this decade of the 90s, we have to stop waste. We share just one world, and we have to save it together, for ourselves and for our children. For more information about our children and the environment, call or write your nearest UNEP or UNICEF office.
I made my first scuba dive at age 7. As I watch these youngsters seek the same wealth and wonder I found in the sea, I wonder if they'll be takers or caretakers of our waters. Most of our waste ends up in our seas, over 20 billion tons a year. There are lots of reasons for us to take care of our Earth. Clean water is an essential one. The treasures of life are in our hands, for better or for worse.
The worst is too often what our children receive, as pollution in our water causes diseases. In Africa, rural Zimbabwe has a high infant mortality rate, and the main causes are infected water and poor sanitation. Drought in neighboring Mozambique drove thousands of families across the border into Zimbabwe, and if they escaped starvation, they often fell victim to illness. Dehydration and diarrhea claimed the life of thousands of children. But things are changing in Zimbabwe. A government health and sanitation program has brought 1/3 of the rural families into close reach of clean water. Inexpensive Blair pumps are so easy to install in purified wells that the villagers can do it themselves. And the technology is so simple that all parts can be produced inside Zimbabwe. There's still a long way to go, but Zimbabwe leads the world in water pump design. And more importantly, Zimbabwe's infant mortality rate, though still high, has dropped to 1/2 of what it was 10 years ago. For more information about children and our environment, call or write your nearest UNEP or UNICEF office.
Hi, I'm Donna Mills. You know how tired you feel at the end of the day when you're running out of energy? Well, our Earth is running out of energy. We're running out of fossil fuel and running out of clean air because of the fossil fuels we do use. If we're going to clean up the air for our children, we have to find alternative energy sources. So think about adding solar panels to the roof of your house to capture the sun's energy. It could save you money, too, in the long run.
In the long run, we're in a race with time to save our environment for our children. The United Nations Environment Program estimates we have less than a decade to turn our world around. One way we can win the race with time is by changing our energy sources. The search for new, clean energy led to the World Solar Challenge race in Australia for solar-powered cars. 7 countries entered 23 cars powered only by solar energy panels and solar-powered batteries. With just these combined energy sources, General Motors' Sun Racer developed speeds as high as 60 miles an hour and won the race. But in the end, the whole world won. Hans Tholstrup, organizer of the race, compared this development of solar-powered cars to what President Kennedy did for the space program. It will be some years before cars like GM Sun Racer become our family cars, but it's something our children can look forward to. For more information about our children and the environment, call or write your nearest UNEP or UNICEF office.
$3,000 used tires, 300,000 aluminum cans. That's what we use to build our environmentally correct solar house. But our most important job is to make our larger home, this Earth, environmentally correct. Remember the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle. Let's work together and make this Earth a livable home we're proud to pass on to our children.
Many of the problems with our environment can't be solved by people in just one country. Solutions for these problems need cooperation among many of our governments. But there are things we can do now, today, as individuals, and tree planting is one of them. What you've been watching is the work of a group called Urban Peace Trees, begun by Earth Stewards Network. They have 2 goals. 1, to bring teenagers from different countries to meet and work together, and 2, to plant trees to improve the environment, including inner city environments. Where decaying concrete gets ripped up and replaced with green trees that both look good and help clean the air we and our children breathe. The Urban Peace Trees program points to hope for our future and for those that will shape that future.
A lot of times I've been asked, what are you doing here? I never have a very good answer except creating hope.
For more information about our children and the environment, call or write your nearest UNEP or UNICEF office.